If you'd like to learn how to make this beautiful little gem, what I like to refer to as my 3Z gem, then stick around and I'm going to show you how to put one of these together. Shortly after I got started doing Zentangle, I discovered this 3Z tiles that Zentangle puts out. And I thought, oh, these could be kind of cool. And they sat around forever and never did anything with them. And I finally pulled them out and decided I would start doing some tangles. And then once I did all these tangles, I'm like, now what am I going to do with them? So I put them away, and then probably, I don't know, about a year later, I discovered this icosahedron shape on the internet, and a bell went off, and I'm like, oh, I could create something that would allow me to put my tangles on here. And wouldn't that be cool? So I figured out how to make it fit these 3Z tiles, and there you go. So I am going to put one of these together right now. You need 5 strips of 9.5 inches by 3¼ inches. I recommend black, but obviously you can do that in any color. And then you need 4 pieces of 1.5 inch by 3 inch pieces of cardstock, and you're going to score them in half. You can use the scraps when you cut. If you use 8.5 by 11 to cut these strips, you can use the scraps in order to cut these. And then you need 20. It will hold 20 of the 3Z tiles from Zentangle. You need some scissors, a scoring board, cutter, you know, anything like that, and glue or double-sided tape. Okay, so let's get started. First thing you want to do is you want to take one of your pieces of paper that is cut 9.5 inches by 3¼ inches, and we are going to measure. You're going to measure this. So, and this can be a little tricky, but what you want to do, and let me zoom out just a smidge here. Okay, you want to go from one corner. Let's say this is side A, and this is side B, just so we can keep track. Side A, you want to measure in. Your first measurement's going to be 3 3/4 inch. Put a mark. Then from here to here is 7.5 inches. Okay, so start at the corner, measure in 3 3/4 inch and 7.5. Then you're going to turn it around, and you're going to start at the corner again. Let's say this is B. And you're going to measure up. Your first mark is going to be at 3 3/4, and your second mark is going to be 7.5. Then what we're going to do is we are going to score this. We're going to go from the corner to that mark, from that mark to that mark, from that mark to that mark, this mark to this mark, and this mark to the point. Okay, whatever it is you think is the best way to do that. I like to just line mine up in my little cutter here and use the score blade to score. Once I've scored that line, I just turn it and line up these 2 spots, score. Then I turn it again, line up those 2 spots, score, turn it again, and then one last time from the very point to that new mark, and try to get it as close as you possibly can to those marks. It's not the end of the world. Fiddlesticks. Actually, I'm going to turn this. If it's not precise, but this is a scientific measurement, if you will, and if it's too far off, it won't fold the way you want it to fold, and everything won't line up properly. You do want to try and get it as close as you can. Then once you have all of those done, then you want to go ahead and fold on those folds, and do that with all 5 pieces, okay? If you have any marks that you feel like you need to erase, now's the time to do that. This is the fun part, folding on all those score lines. They don't need to be creased. It works good. Okay, so then let's just set those aside for a moment, and then we're going to take our little pieces that are 1.5 inches by 3, and you're going to score them right in the middle, which is 3/4 inch. And then we're going to fold those all in half. Once you fold it in half, let me zoom in a smidge here. Once you fold that in half, then you're just going to cut a little corner off. Not a precise measurement, but you want it to end up looking like this, okay? And you'll see why. Black is not the best color, so what I've done is I've done a little mock-up here to show you how you're going to line these up. So you'll take your pieces, and within these pieces, you obviously you don't, let's see, it's not obvious. If these are folded in, you want to have a line going this way, and I will include below a form that you can print out that will kind of show you how these attach. But you can also see where I have taken my little tabs, and that's what we're going to use to glue these together to keep them attached to each other. So let's see if I can line this out. This is a triangle here, and this is a triangle here. So if that kind of helps, this is my tab. That doesn't really show up that great either, does it? One other way you can think of it is you've got several triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to be putting together 2 and 3. Make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 and 3. That's the easiest way. So 2 and 3 are going to be next to each other. And then we're going to adhere those with our tabs. I have marked up my black strips to match, very similar to this. Okay. Here's kind of the tricky part. Your folds, just the way you want to make sure that all your folds are going the same direction. Okay. So make sure that when you're starting this out that you do that, okay? And if you need to number them, that's great. So just make sure that your 2 and 3 are across from each other, and that's how we're going to stick these together. And so then you just take your little strip. It's not the easiest thing to see. And then we're going to just stick some glue down on this. And we are going to center that fold so that it connects the two. You want to make sure you keep it fairly snug when you're gluing these together, and make sure that that fold line is right on the fold, so that once you get that glued, that piece will fold up nice. And then you keep doing that to get them all connected. Okay, so once you have that all put together, let me zoom in a little bit on this, as I know it is hard to see. Here we go. That brightens it up a little. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of double-sided tape so that we can put this all together. If you don't have double-sided tape, that's okay. You can use glue. I just think this might be a little bit easier. When this is folded in, right along that edge. So just fold those in. I think the trickiest part about this is just making sure that when you're doing this, it's all on the right side, the correct side. If you wanted to, when you're trying to put this on, turn it over, you could do that. You just need to make sure that, you know, you're putting the tape, I guess you would say you want the tape on the opposite side of your stickies. So when you flip it, your stickies, your tabs. So when you flip it over, you see that you've got the tape all on these edges. And then you flip it over again, your tabs are on this side, same side as your numbers. Let's get this out of the way for the moment. So again, I have all my tabs on this side and the tape is on the back side, okay? And what you're gonna do, you need to start with the second one up, peel this off, and you'll fold that up. You will see this, there's only, you know, you really can't mess this up. Once you start taping these in place, it goes right together. So I'm going to put them together with the black. So I'm going to peel this off, and then I will fold this up to line it up, being as precise as I can, and then press that in place. Okay, so I've got one taped. So I'm going to tape this off, fold this up, try to be as precise as possible, and stick that in place. You'll see it start taking shape. It's kind of fun. Peel that off. Stick that in. Got my last one. Peel that off. Stick that in place. That's not exactly. And then you've got your last one on this side. Peel that off. Lay that in there and stick it in place. Get in there and press those all in, because it just gets a little bit trickier as we're going. So here we are. You can see this one will fold up. And you can see the shape taking place. But we just have to stick these all in place. So peel that off. And this one you need to make sure you're pressing them in good while you go, because it does get more challenging with that very last one to get your hand in there. here's the tricky one, this very last one. You will always have, I mean, I guess you could go ahead and put another tab in here if you wanted, but I've left it because I think at some point I might decide I wanted to hang this, and I want to be able to get something in here, so I did not. But if you know you're always going to just be setting this on a table, you could go ahead and tape something in there. That would work. And so you might need to get a bone folder or something in there so that you can be sure and press that in good. And there you have it. So the next thing you need to do is go ahead and get started on your tangles and get those guys put on there. I really enjoyed putting this together, and it just was so much fun for me to glue all these pieces in and just have it fall together exactly the way I had planned. So I really hope you enjoyed this journey and that you will enjoy making one of your own, whether you use it for tangles or use it for photos. How cool would that be? I might even have to try one of those. Anyway, right about now, I catch a thief in the act. Oh, who is that stealing my stuff? Anyway, I really was glad how this turned out, and I sure hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more fun things coming your way.